Okay, so I wanted to do an update on a few different things that have been going on. One, well, my other PC sort of died a bit while I was trying to try again with some of the games that didn't really record that well because it kept crashing the PC. Now, I always blamed the RX 480 because when I looked it up after buying it, it had well-known issues of crashing and causing the same things with your PC. And obviously when not running the RX 480, that PC didn't crash. Now, if you go back to the videos, the triple scammed eBay, where they removed the negative feedback that that person deserved, for they essentially lied about the way they described the PC and everything. Well, once this PC, the power supply, literally went pop with a very loud pop with a bright white light. I mean, obviously it crashed again while I was trying to re-record these things, so, you know, I was putting it on this strain by giving it one last chance to, you know, maybe record some of those things that were going on the lowest settings, so I turned everything down to the lowest possible settings, and it still crashed it. And, well, you know, after crashing it like always, I turn it straight back on, which I'd always been doing, but this time it went POP! And a huge white ball is sort of bluish. For about half a second was like from the power supply, so blew out the power supply. As far as I was aware. So I went to replace the power supply with this Arctic Blue, which I bought off eBay. Powerful and silent, 750 watt, 850 watt. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of it. Whilst I was disassembling it, so I took out the power supply to see if anything had blown, I noticed that on the motherboard, obviously I never bothered pulling out these bits when I was installing the RX 480 because, you know, it was not necessarily part of my thoroughness to do so, because why would I unplug the motherboard to plug in the graphics cards? I wouldn't do that. Anyway, because it's hidden in the top and, you know, not really visible from that sort of angle. It turns out they had a 4-pin CPU connector to the actual CPU rather than an 8-pin, and it's an 8-pin hole and they had a 4-pin connector going into it, so, you know, they were very, very shorting the CPU. So, you know, when it's crashing because of the CPU not getting enough power, because the power has been drawn to the RX 480, could also be because they put the wrong fucking power supply on this. And not only did they lie-rate the description and fucking bollocks all that up, they also put a deliberately terrible and incorrect power supply onto the build, essentially. So that is stupid. If you've got an 8-pin hole, you can't get away with putting a 4-pin power supply into it. So, you know, if they destroyed it, that's that eBay thing. So really, I should be entitled to my money back as far as I'm concerned with that fucking eBayer. I don't know if I named and shamed them in the other thing. I haven't looked at what their name is. Anyway, so I got this to replace the power supply, but this is a 15 amp AC input. So my other one was the one that it came with was a 5 amp one, and the plug that I've got is only a 5 amp plug. So these things don't come with plugs. Why do power supplies not come with plugs? It should come with the plug and wire with it, as far as I'm concerned. You know, brand new purchase. This is something that should, you know, everything else in the world comes with the plug that you would need to use it. So why does this not come with the power supply plug wire that you need to use? That doesn't make sense to me. You know, it should come with natively the plug. So, I mean, I tried plugging this in, it doesn't boot it up. It may be that the motherboard and other things were fried. I mean, it is a supposedly shock-resistant motherboard, but who knows? So yeah, I disassembled the PSU. The PSU on the old one didn't seem to have anything with it, and the motherboard itself doesn't seem fried visibly, but you know, that's no guarantee that it didn't short out the motherboard, especially as they put the wrong power supply to it. So, you know, a 4-pin going into an 8-pin hole. No. So this definitely has 8-pin supply. This definitely has the 24-pin supply that's native. Obviously the 24-pin was working and right on the other one. But the actual CPU's separate power, pardon me, no, they completely fluffed it on that. I can't believe that you would be allowed to sell such garbage that you've put a fucking 4-pin power supply into an 8-pin hole. No. I'm surprised it even ran at all, to be honest. But I may have been blaming the RX 480 this entire time when it was that fucking incompetent eBayer that built such trash to put a 4-pin power supply into an 8-pin hole. So, I mean, it might just be that the fuse isn't good enough to power this, so that might be why it's not powering up, or it might just be that the power supply is right. So, I'm going to try replacing the fuse in the thing first, and then if that doesn't work, then I'm gonna have to replace the motherboard. Now, I've already taken out the motherboard, because with the other PC, which I haven't even put the video up for, that seems to come with a spare motherboard, because it was factory sealed, but it turns out they just boxed up the few extra bits that they didn't use and then somehow re-factory sealed it to make it look factory sealed, so it's a good job I didn't sell that on. But I don't have a spare motherboard, so if it comes down to it that the motherboard is fried as well, I'm also going to have to replace the motherboard, and then, because that's DDR3, the RAM isn't really going to be compatible, because it just seems like it's just a terrible waste of money to pay more for a DDR3 motherboard than a DDR4 motherboard, because everywhere DDR4 motherboards seem to be a lot cheaper. Of course, DDR4 RAM is a lot more expensive, so I'm going to sell off all of the components for the other bits. And yeah, so I mean, that's if the amp doesn't work. I'll try the amp first, because the amp's going to be cheap and cheerful to replace, so you know. And if the 15 amp, yeah, I'm still going to need it anyway for this, so, you know, once the 15 amps replaced, then we will start replacing other bits on it. But until then, I'm going to be doing this on this alone, which is unfortunately a detriment to recording content, because, I mean, I haven't got the 8GB graphics card in this one. It's only got a 1GB graphics card, but this one was like the recording setup, so not the gameplay setup. So I mean, I could try putting the RX 480 into this, but I'd rather just rebuild the other PC and, you know, have the gaming PC and the recording PC separate. It just seems to make the most sense to me. So, I mean, you know, it's a little awkward, so if content's a little sketchy, I mean, obviously this is the vlogging channel, so it's not going to be that sketchy over here. But on the gaming channel, especially as I've got a few different things that I need to be getting content on with, I've rushed out a mother gunship and a stifled video because they're sort of time sensitive. But it's very obvious that the recording has been deteriorated because of this dying, because of trying to give games one last chance of going. And it might not have ever been the RX 480's fault in the first place. It was probably this incompetent eBayer that I purchased the PC off. So don't buy fucking computers off eBay. To be honest, it's just going to be less hassle to buy the components and build it yourself. You know, you might save a bit of money by getting some trash off eBay that they're going to lie about the things. You're going to be disappointed with what you're going to get. And it's probably going to be a fucking death trap that's going to explode itself and break in the first instance of you doing anything that you expect the high-end PC to do. So yeah, it's not going to be as high-end as you're expecting, and then it's just going to break itself. So it is absolutely not worth it at all. So yeah, just avoid buying PCs off eBay and build them yourself if you have to, but it's just garbage that they can lie about that and go, yeah, but we've overclocked it to that, and it's like, no, you didn't say in the description that it was overclocked, and I didn't want it overclocked, so, you know, I paid for it to be specifically this powerful. Oh, fucking hell. Just utter garbage. And you imagine that, because I got them to de-overclock it. Imagine if it had been overclocked with that 4 fucking pin. Shit. That would have burnt itself out in no time, you know. So, yeah. That is the story of my PC dying because of fucking garbage eBays. Who the fuck sells trash with 4 pins in a fucking 8-pin hole? If you do that, get lost, get off my channel. You know, you're not welcome here if you're that fucking trash garbage. You know, nice and honest people here is all that I want. I don't want garbage people like that. But yeah, this seems like a nice power supply. It's silent. It's like 30 quid. It's not a lot. So 750 to 850 watt. Has all the connectors you need. So, you know, 6 plus 2 pin for the PCI Express. So it can do 6 and 8 pin. It has the 4 plus 4. So if you do have a 4 pin, it can do only 4 pin. But it can also do 8 pin. It's 120mm smart sleeve fan. So it's silent. So it's, you know, not going to be a noisy shit. But yeah, they're all the connectors. 850 watts, so yeah, it's not even the 750, it's definitely the 850 watt model, so it's the more powerful one. So, once I've got the bits that I need, probably I need the motherboard, probably some more RAM, we'll be back up and gaming, but it's just frustrating trying to find these fucking replacement shit, and yeah, you know, it's a complete waste of money, because if it has blew it, the motherboards, you know, and all the savings that you would have got for this garbage, it's not. So, you know, I'm going to sell on the components. I can't guarantee the motherboard or the power supply are working, but the RAM should still be working, and I'm going to keep hold of the RX 480 and hope that that didn't get fried as well, because, my god, if it got fried as well. If it did, then, well, I'm not even going to risk buying another RX 480. I'll just get a 4GB graphics card or something for now. You know, in the interim, that'll be cheaper until the GTX 1080s and stuff come down in price, because DDR6 is GDDR6, not DDR6. You know, it's graphics is coming as the next standard soon, so yeah, it will be on its way. Sorry for fiddling with this. I picked it up to show it off, but I should have put it down a long time ago rather than fiddle with it and be distracting. But yeah, it's just annoying that my graphics card had to. The entire PC had to die in such a spectacular way for trying to, you know, record games that I needed to. But yeah, it's this fucking eBay's fault, so blame that person. Anyway, thanks for watching, join us again for some more. Goodbye!